Welcome back to the Fantasy Endgame community. Glad to have you as always. We're going to talk about our must-have running backs today. These are some players that you absolutely want to come away with in the draft. Now, don't be confused. Not the same as our league winners. We already talked about those. Our league-winning running backs, the guys that could take you all the way to the championship. But these are some players that have great value based on where they're going. Could they be league winners? Absolutely. We'll see. But let's talk about the players that we are targeting in as many drafts as possible. And trust me, we do a lot of them. All right, Chris. So who's your first running back that you got your eye on all the time?
Yeah, well, this guy truly is the definition of a league winner, and that is Saquon Barkley, who is falling to the end of the first round in almost every draft. I've seen this guy go as low as the middle of the second round, and it's absolutely ridiculous. This is a guy who, in his rookie season, he averaged over 24 fantasy points per game. In his second season, he got the high ankle sprain. But if you look at what he did in the games before the high ankle sprain and down the stretch when he was 100%, he was averaging over 27 fantasy points per game. He's literally the closest thing to Christian McCaffrey. Now look, nobody's on Christian McCaffrey's level, but he's the closest one when he's healthy. And this is the thing. You're drafting him with pick 9, pick 10, whatever, pick 11, pick 12, whatever, or start of the second round depending on your league size. You're drafting a guy who could literally win you your league at that point. And I get it. There's all the injury risk and you're scared like, oh, I drafted him last year and he killed my team and blah, 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 blah. Are you trying to win or are you trying not to lose? You have to draft Saquon Barkley when he falls this far. I get it if you don't want to draft him at number 3 or number 4 or number 5. That's fine because there's other guys there that I like and I'm sure you like too. But once he falls this far, you have to draft this guy because nobody else at that point, whether it's a running back or a wide receiver, has the league-winning upside of Saquon Barkley. So don't worry about the injury. You're playing to win the game. Like Herm Edwards said, draft him.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is a guy, remember, that last year, some people were taking Barkley number 1 overall, even ahead of Christian McCaffrey. And I guess it really didn't matter because both of them wound up being really big busts, but not for their own fault, just injuries, right? Injuries happen. But there's nobody who is immune from injuries. Remember Dalvin Cook, how everyone was worried about him 2 years ago? Okay, so it's the same thing. Barkley, you shouldn't be scared of. I think he's fine health-wise. We haven't heard anything different. But again, people fall into these narratives. They're so worried about this might happen, that might happen. And for the same reason, Jonathan Taylor, who everybody was all over last year coming into the season, and then he kind of disappointed until the very end. And then we were all over him again after the season ended because of the way he finished strong. He did exactly what people finally were looking for. And then all of a sudden we're backing off him again. That's what I don't understand. He's not a top 5 pick in almost any of the drafts that we see. And I don't get it because he still is the same guy. He looked really good. This is a team that's going to run the ball. So the Carson Wentz injury, you can say, well, maybe that has something to do with it. It doesn't because his ADP had been falling already. I don't get why a guy who could be, again, the top running back in all the land, except for maybe Christian McCaffrey. Why are we fading him? Nyheim Hines, yeah, he's a pass-catching threat, but is he going to be on the field so much that Taylor becomes, lower than a top 10 running back? I don't think that's going to happen. If anything, I actually think that the Wentz injury, and we've heard that they're just going to go into the season with Jacob Eason, right? Probably not going to go out and trade for a quarterback. I think that helps both Taylor and Hines. I think they're going to lean on the running game. They're going to lean on Taylor. I really see a path to 20 plus carries a game. And he's still the same talented guy, still the same talented offensive line. Maybe not the level of what it was 2 years ago, but this is still one of the better offense lines in the league. So Taylor absolutely is a type of guy. Look, I like Austin Eckler. I like Aaron Jones, but I really think Taylor still has a higher ceiling. So I would rather take the shot and get a guy like that. And I'm coming away with him if I pick late in the first round whenever I get a chance, especially now that Cam Akers is gone. All right, Chris, your turn. Who's your next must-have running back?
Well, speaking of Aaron Jones, it's Aaron Jones. I don't get it. Back-to-back top 5 fantasy seasons among running backs. I understood it when there was all this concern about Aaron Rodgers coming back because you want no part of this Green Bay offense with Jordan Love. But Aaron Rodgers is back. Everything's fine. Devontae Adams is still there. And you know what's even better for Aaron Jones? Jamal Williams isn't there, right? Because that was the big thing. As someone who had Aaron Jones last year, I understood the pain of Jamal Williams. And I love Jamal Williams, one of my favorite players. But I understood the pain of Jamal Williams when, for an entire series, Aaron Jones would stand on the sidelines while Jamal Williams did all the work. And especially painful when Jamal Williams was out there in the 2-minute drill, because the 2-minute drill, those are great touches for running backs because teams are playing fast. The defenses are on their heels. They're getting dump offs, they're getting passes, and they have a great chance to score. And Aaron Jones was not getting as much of those touches because Jamal Williams, for some reason, was the Packers' preferred back in the 2-minute drill. Well, guess what? He's gone. And no matter what you think of A.J. Dillon is not a 2-minute running back. He's a big, bruising running back. And he's very good as a big, bruising running back. But he's not a pass-catching back. He's not a play-fast 2-minute guy. So you got to think Aaron Jones is going to see even more work in the passing game, and he's going to get those valuable snaps in the 2-minute drill. If anything, Aaron Jones should be going higher than he has in previous seasons, but he's not. He's still going in the second round. It's like no matter what this guy does, he'll never be a first rounder. He's just a value in the second round every single year. It's the same thing this year. You got to get Aaron Jones in the second round when you can.
Yeah, I know you'll never be in the A.J. Dillon fan club, so you're definitely not worried about his path to touches there. Aaron Jones, the fact that they did sign him kept him to a pretty large contract for a running back, which is not really cool these days to put up money towards a veteran running back. And they let Jamal Williams go. I think that tells you something about how they feel about Jones. All right, so I'll go with the guy. Same division here, not in a super exciting pick, but that's exactly why he's such a great value, and that's David Montgomery. So again, people are going to keep throwing out that same narrative, the fact that, oh, he just had such an easy schedule down the stretch. This is true, right? You can't deny that. They played some really bad run defenses down the stretch, right? Teams like Jacksonville and Houston. But he did something with his opportunity. We've seen guys go in soft matchups and not do anything. And he didn't just do it once. He didn't just do it twice. He had a monster stretch for the last several weeks of the season. So you can't just say, oh, it's a schedule, it's a schedule. This is the Bears we're talking about. It's not like teams were, sitting back and fearing their pass offense, and so they just let Montgomery run wild. He did something with the opportunity he had, and he's going to do it again. The thing I like is the fact that, again, I keep saying this, the most valuable thing for a running back in fantasy is touches. Being on the field, getting the ball, and getting the ball with those quality opportunities like you just mentioned, right? In those 2-minute drills, in goal line situations. Montgomery is going to do all of that. He saw his pass catching go up last year. People will say, well, what about Tariq Cohen? He's coming back. Well, Tariq Cohen is not what he used to be. There's already reports in training camp that he is not close to 100%, and he's just not going to be a factor like he used to be. And they don't need him to be because David Montgomery has been that good. They didn't bring a lot legit competition. They drafted Khalil Herbert kind of later in the draft, not to replace or to share time with Montgomery, just to be a backup. So I really feel like this is a guy who's going to, once again, exceed his ADP. Once I'm looking for my second running back, if I see Montgomery available there, and he's still available a lot of times in the 4th or 5th round, I just don't get why I'm taking him every time. All right, one more running back, Chris. Who you got?
I have everybody's least favorite running back. That's James Conner. Right after last year, everybody has sworn off James Conner. He's terrible. He's not very good. I don't think that's true. If you look at the beginning of the season, week 1, he got shut down by what ended up being a very good run defense last year. But then he had some really nice stretch of games there, got COVID, never looked the same after that. Now he's going to Arizona. Everybody loves Chase Edmonds. Little Chase Edmonds, change of pace back, who's never handled a significant amount of carries in his life, is suddenly going to be the starter, and James Conner is just going to be there. No, I don't think so. I think James Conner is going to play the Kenyon Drake role from last year, and Chase Edmonds is going to play the Chase Edmonds role from last year. And look, people are like, well, Kenyon Drake wasn't very good last year. He wasn't very good because you drafted him in the second round. That was your fault. He was very good if you drafted him in, say, the 9th or 10th round, like where James Conner's going. You would have been ecstatic to have Kenyon Drake last year. In fact, if you had drafted him there, he probably would have been a league winner just because of where you drafted him. So James Conner doesn't have to be exceptional. I think he'll be more than good enough. And people think Arizona's his pass-heavy team, but they're really not. They're one of the most run-heavy teams in the league. Kenyon Drake, I think, was 8th or 9th in the league in carries last year. So James Conner should get plenty of opportunity. And if something were to happen to Chase Edmonds, James Conner, we know, can handle a 3-down role, so his value would go up even more. So James Conner is a guy I can't leave drafts without drafting James Conner, because I just feel like the upside and the possibilities are so good for him at the spot where he's going in drafts.
Absolutely right. We were off of Kenyon Drake completely last year. He got so much opportunity. People don't realize, like you said, how much Arizona does run the ball. Connor really just needs to stay healthy. That's it. Like, we know he can be an efficient running back. He just has to stay healthy. And then my last must-have is a guy that is really flying under the radar. Everybody loves their rookies, but for some reason, Kenneth Gainwell not getting much traction. I think because everyone just assumes Miles Sanders is so good, he's going to keep that starting job. Not so fast. Look, we've heard throughout the offseason, that the Eagles are going to kind of relegate Sanders to kind of a timeshare role. They're going to limit his work. He's not going to be in on obvious passing plays because he's just not very good at pass protection. All right. That's really important to coaches. It doesn't sound like it's super important and we don't care about it in fantasy, but you should, because it matters how often they're on the field. So I think Kenneth Gainwell is going to be the third down back. He's also going to be a change of pace back. They like what they've seen. He's got the speed, and he's kind of got that home run ability like Miles Sanders. Maybe not as high of a top-end speed when you're out in the open field, but at that point, does it really make a difference? You have to be there to get the ball in those situations. I think Gainwell is going to see a lot more touches than people think, and I think that he might wind up actually being more productive than Miles Sanders in this offense. So to me, this is a guy that when I'm looking for a late-round running back, this is a guy I'm going to target almost every time, because at that point, there's a lot of flyers, second, third running backs in committees. I think Gainwell is going to be the most productive of them all. All right, those are our must-haves right now in the running back world. Who do you think belongs? There's somebody that we missed. Let us know. Hit us up with a comment. And of course, hit us with a like and that subscribe button whenever possible. We definitely appreciate it. All right, thanks for watching.